we back. The turning point is over, or more so used as a way to set up a series of things that are likely to come here. And that gets me pretty excited because I think that's a very fun route to switch things up. And also it narratively allows for, I guess, us to tell this a little bit different than having to force like some insane thing to happen at once. It kind of allows you to then have like a series of things that can occur because you kind of get uprooted out of like your own situation of things that end up coming. So I think that makes it all the more interesting. So I'm very excited for that. Rudy will now go on his journey and he will likely link back up with the rest of the group. He will likely have some things happen. I don't know. We made some predictions and talked about that at the end of the last episode, so go check that out if you want. But we'll just kind of play by ear and see what happens as we go a little bit further into this and see if that starts feeling a little bit more likely what we're assuming to likely occur here. So if you like it all, the like and subscribe to me lots. Make feel free to stick around for the discussion. Leave me comments of this episode or series. Let's go going with episode 19 of season 2 of Mushoku Tensei.
そう決めたはいいが、シルフィーに話して泣かれでもしたら決心が鈍りそうだった。
Yeah, it's easy to tell yourself that as well too.
話すことにした。
私はあなたに残れと言ったんですのよ。
Oh, she's going anyways.
ですが、二人で行きましょうか。ありがとうございます。
Or traveling duo.
私もベガリと
Just like the old days, right? Like the journey up to school.
ですわね。
俺の想定よりかなり早いですよ。さすが年の子。
Come on, bro. Yeah, don't say that.
それよりも問題は私の呪いのことですわね。
Can't find some people along the way.
旅の間、俺とエリナリーゼさんはしない。
Had to really convince himself though.
クリフ先輩が作ってる魔道具は使えませんか？
クリフに旅のことを話さなくてはなりませんわ。
You were just gonna up and leave him?
ちゃんと話しましょう。
Yeah.
別れ話。
He deserves it. He deserves it. He's not like all the other dudes you've been with. You know? No mana for you for a while, buddy. Get to figuring things out on your own. You're trapped.
ベガリット大陸の迷宮都市ラパンまで往復で約2年ほど。
What about the deal?
迷宮都市ラパン。
Properly explain why too, because if you tell her you're going back for your family and all that stuff, I think she'll understand it a lot more than just being like, oh, I'm leaving, by the way.
待ちなさい。
Have any info for us? You've been there before?
世界各地にある転移魔法陣の場所を記した地図よ。そのページに書かれているのはシャリーアからベガリット大陸への
She's like, I get you there. So you can come back quicker. That's crazy.
の近くにあるバザールから北へ1ヶ月ぐらい移動すればたどり着けるって。
1ヶ月だと。
Alright, well, that was a lot quicker
シルフィーの
than I think anybody expected.
あまり言いふらさないでよ。転移魔法陣は禁術だから国に見つかったらすぐに潰されちゃうわ。
ありがとう、七星。助かるよ。
私は恩を返しただけよ。
We even.
早く戻ってきて研究を手伝っ
We all selfish. Nah, you're sweet.
父さんと母さんを助けに行こうと思う。
わかった。家のことは任せて。
突然いなくならないって約束守れなくてすまない。
守ってるよ。全然突然じゃないしね。どれ
That's
く
what
ら
you
いかか
think.
るのかな。2年くらい。
出産までには戻れると思う。
転移って大丈夫なの？
We're about to find out. She's got some trauma from the last teleportation that occurred. I think most of you should.
大丈夫。絶対に帰ってくるから。
Yeah, one day. Good thing you're gonna throw a timeline on that one, brother.
頼れそうなやつに頼むんだ。何でも一人でやろうとするな。
はい。
ノルン。
はい、兄さん。
シルフィーやアイシャがいっぱいいっぱいだと感じたら助けてやってくれ。
はい。
そうだ。
For the display you put on last time, you gotta. Just in case.
なんでそういうこと
Just in case he doesn't make it back, you gotta.
子供に名前なんてつけたら帰ってこられないよ。
Use it as like a motivation to
この世
force
界
him
の
back.
死亡フ
Alright.
ラグだったか。
帰ってきたらつけることにして、それまでに生まれたらルーデウス・ジュニアと呼びましょう。
Let's hope that doesn't happen. Absolutely don't let that happen.
シルフィ
It's fun because it's a similar situation to his own thing that he said before about how it's a little bit weird, or it's how it's so much harder for him to actually outwardly say, like, to Sylphie and anybody else, you know, what he's planning to actually do, depending on their reaction to it. So her reaction, instead she doesn't cry here, but still breaking and like shaking despite her own resolve of being like, yeah, it's good, like I want you to do this and telling him to, but still you can see like she still struggles to really get that out.
バーディーガーディには会ってないが、まあ元気にやっているだろう。
Yeah, we'll just assume
ジー
that.
ナス教頭には休学願いを出し、天意とベガリット大陸にまつわる本、それぞれの貸し出し許可をもらった。天意魔法陣のある森へ行き、そこからベガリット大陸へ転移し、約1ヶ月かけてラパンへ向かう。そして迅速に家族を助け、同じルートで戻る。
Right, that's the ideal plan. Doesn't mean things are gonna turn out that way. In fact, I'd argue it'd be pretty lame if things do turn out that way, so let's not let that happen.
なんとかここまで小型化できた。伸縮性があるし、この上から着衣しても問題ないはずだ。
Even though he leaves you. Or even though you
帰
leave
ってきた
in
ら
him.
式をあげよう。呪いはまだ
What a
解けてない
guy.
けど、二人で家を買って一緒に住もう。
私は黙っていこうとしたひどい女ですのよ。
結婚式はミリス式になるけど、いいか。
Don't even listen to the things she says. Reassure it's alright.
この世で誰よりも。
ルディ、
シルフィすぐ帰ってくる。
It's a big ass
シルフ
horse.
ィー、
Holy
大
fuck.
丈夫。ル
Built.
ーデウスは私が守りますわ。きちんと出産までに戻りますわよ。
はい。おばあちゃんも気をつけて。
I'm never gonna get used to that. To her calling her that.
では行ってきます。
いってらっし
I just can't look at her and just think like, yeah, she's a grandma. Like I just don't see it, you know? Finally the tears flow after he gone. To the forest. To the forest.
この石碑ですわね。
Oh, that's a cool
七
emblem.
星の情報と一致します。間違いないでしょう。
Alrighty.
この竜はただ信念にのみ生きる。高層たるカイナからは何者をも逃れることはできない。2番目に死んだ竜。最も儚き瞳を持つ緑銀鱗の竜将。清流帝シラードの名を借り、その結界を今打ち破らん。
So far, so good. Oh, that's cool. They uncovered the temple.
まさに遺跡という感じですね。
たまに迷宮がこんな感じですわ。怪しいですわね。
行きましょう。
Sometimes in these situations, the suspicious place is where you're gonna be.
今法人ですの。
おそらくそうでしょう。
This room's just giving me flashbacks to when he got locked up by the other dude.
何ですのそれ。
He was in the
天意の迷
basement.
宮探索機という双方向に転移できる魔法陣に間違いないでしょう。
That's good.
触れながら上に乗るだけでいいそうですよ。どうしました？
So you don't lose.
私、天意には少々
あー
嫌な思い出がありまして。
嫌な思い出くらい俺だってありますよ。
There's more important matters right now, though. And a success, I think. I hope.
飛びましたわね。
そのようです。
It's different for sure. Doesn't mean it brought us where we need to be, but uh-oh.
一応戻れるか確かめておきますか。
私が行きますわ。
Uh-oh.
万が一あなたがいなくなった時、パウロに報告するのはごめんですわ。
わかりました。お願いします。
But what if it doesn't reactivate and work? Why are we just acting like that's... Also, what if it gives you different locations each time?
遅いな。
That was a stupid idea. I don't like that. Well, well, we lost her. GG. We're alone. Uh-oh. Yeah, bad memories with that. Oh, she's back. Never mind. Sorry for what I said. I can just get cautious with those things and splitting up.
戻ってきたつもりですけど。
タイムラグがあるのか。
何にせよ、戻ってこれるなら問題はないでしょう。
We in the desert. Oh no. The worm.
どうやらちゃんとベガリット大陸に着いたみたいですね。
大した距離は稼げませんわ。少し早いけど、今日はこの遺跡で休んでおきましょう。
It's a smart idea. Get going bright and early. Try and get the fuck out of here or find some sort of life. Some town or something. Doesn't help that you have those heavy ass fucking coats on and the...
いかんいかん。まだ大丈夫かと思っていたが、少し溜まっていたようだ。頭がもやもやする。
What the fuck? I don't even want to say this is real. Yeah, she just doesn't even look like she's from here. I want to say Brett's just having illusions because he's fucking dying of heat stroke.
ルーです。しっかりなさい。サキュバスですわ。
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing, you know? Oh, really cool design.
まったく嫌な匂いですわ。
Big old scorpion. Huh. That's pretty helpful. There's so many cool different fucking animals and shit here. And things just to go against. We finally found something. Life.
私、ちょっと行ってきますわ。
どこにです？
男あさりに先に寝ていて構います。
About that time. She done had enough.
他で呪いの影響は弱まってはいるが、結局は未完成ということか。
Yeah.
お互いの
He
ために
did say that.
ゼニスを救出して早く帰ろう。
迂回かしら。
いえ、登りましょう。乗ってください。
So convenient. Actually, so convenient.
伏せて。のつがいですわね。
That was the word. I was trying to think of like what to call them, and then I didn't want to say anything because I was like, I can't remember what the fuck these things would be called. Right through it? Right in its mouth? Nice, teamwork, come on. Nice.
エリナリーゼさん、お行儀が悪いですよ。
あら、ゼニスみたいなことを言いますのね。
母さんはそんなことを？
女の子なんだからもっといろいろ気をつけてください。右も左もわからない小娘でパウロにナンパされて連れてこられましたのよ。
エリナリーゼさんに何か謝りたいみたいな感じでしたけど、何があったか聞いても？
Oh, some stupid shit.
あなたも父親の地上のもつれなんて知りたくもないでしょ。
どんな愛憎劇があったのか、なんとなく想像がつくな。
でもラパンに着いたらきっと謝ってくれますよ。
Gotta face it at some
許
point.
しませんわ。
That's also true, though.
ですわね。
Holy fuck. That looks dope. following up on what happened in the last episode and the decision that Rudy decided to come to through his conversation, his own thoughts and his own conversation that he ended up having with Norn, comes to that conclusion where he's like, all right, we're definitely got to go ahead and do this. He lays some groundwork prior to it, goes finds Sylphie, talks to them, and we say our goodbyes to a bunch of people before we begin getting back on the adventure and moving forward to ultimately get to the city and likely meet back up with everybody that we need to in the operation here to save Zenith, which is a pretty cool setup for what we actually have. To be honest, I didn't love the episode, really. It's nothing like against it, I would say. And I understand it's transition and we have to build towards the things that are coming. I don't know. I didn't find myself that interested for a majority of it. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just like to be transparent with a lot of that stuff. So if you felt it maybe in the reaction, I guess there's that, but I don't know. I wasn't too invested in a lot of the stuff that was occurring. Regardless, though, they have to move forward. I don't think I have anything I even really want to talk about, like structured wise. So we're just going to kind of go through the episode and I'll talk about certain things in it, I guess. I don't know. Breaking the news with the Lena Lise about what we have to do, where we have to go, trying to figure out the timeline, what we have to do, worrying about her curse and everything. Pretty cool with Rudy kind of worrying about that as well and trying to figure out the solution and everything, but also figuring out that he like telling her like, okay, I can't be the one, like I can't do any of that. Being like, I gotta stay loyal in that moment too, which is also something that she would want, as you know, she ends up seeing, and she can't do anything, especially with somebody closely related to Paul. Breaks the news to Nanahoshi, who of course doesn't want any of this to happen because she definitely needs him back. So she ends up revealing some things that she's been keeping hidden for a period of time here. Things likely that I'm assuming she gets completely through Orsted and, you know, through the journey and everything that they kind of went on, and knows about these teleportation circles and stuff for us to find, which will actually shorten his journey a ton. So with that newfound news, which is a fantastic thing for us to have, we're like, all right, let's tell the whole family about it. I like Rudy's reasoning earlier in the episode too of like his struggle to tell Sylphie first and like her be the first one that he like talks to about it, because if she ends up breaking down crying, even if she tells him to go, it's going to be extremely hard for him to be like, yeah, let me actually just go and do that and not want to go back on his word and not want to just stick around, and, you know, because he understands how much that's hurting her in the process. I don't know. I really think that's pretty good reasoning for him to be a little bit cautious about what he's doing and trying to lay out everything and figure everything out prior to actually breaking it to her, and trying to build up that courage, almost like you've laid enough groundwork that like you kind of just have to go and do it. Seeing off the family, letting everybody know that they need you, you know, y'all got to work extremely hard, and I'm gonna do everything that I can to kind of come back here. He wants to name the kid Pryor, which another cheeky little move that he tries to pull there. You know, essentially, if I can't make it back in time, I at least, you know, was able to do something like this, and also not having any intentions to probably make it back in time. But Aisha kind of puts us up to it, and it's like, all right, well, if you get back, you can do it. If not, we're going to give it a name that you probably don't want in the slightest. Which we definitely don't want to see, so we have to make it back. Say our goodbyes to a bunch more people, get on the big old horsey, and we are on our way out. Cliff trying to constantly make these refinements to this thing to work on her curse. Despite him creating this, he's well aware that, you know, likely her desires and things are going to kind of kick in through the curse, and she's probably going to have to go out of her way and do things. I like him just being really sweet here, letting her know that he wants to marry her and everything when she comes back, and he's going to work extremely hard to figure this out still for her, and he hasn't given up on it despite them separating and doing things here, and he doesn't even care regardless of her just trying to skate out and not really say anything. A pretty powerful thing for him to go on and do, and really give her that hope going forward. I mean, we get to see, it seems like she tries to hold herself out as long as she can until they ultimately get to a point where she's like, I just can't do it anymore. And I felt that, at least I felt the effort it felt like that she put in to try and avoid it. The adventuring begins a little bit. We end up going in and finding the ruins. They talk about a whole bunch of stuff. These lines and the reasons why like all of this kind of works and everything probably has some importance. I'm not going to dive into it because I truly could not begin to tell you anything, but we're just going to let it kind of be for now. Really cool way of just finding these fucking stones, and then if you know the spell, if you know what to say, it'll unveil the ruins, which is pretty cool. And we can go underground and be able to find this and actually teleport to the location that we need. I got really concerned things weren't actually going to work out. We were going to go somewhere else, but things worked out exactly how we kind of needed it to. The time lag that they have is a pretty cool thing for us to end up finding out about. I was very concerned that things weren't going to work here. Also, like, what if this was a circle? What if this was something where like we go into it once and it sends you to a location, but it's actually not properly like sending you to each location, despite the things that Nanahoshi told us, and it's like randomly sending you and you accidentally got to the right place on the first try, which you also don't know if it's actually the correct place for you to be, and you can only just make assumptions based on what you see in this lower room here. Luckily, it wasn't the case anyways, and he was able to fully get himself out of there, or she was able to come back. We learned a little bit about that and how the lag between it actually works. Also, just nice to know, like, if you touch each other or you're holding on to each other, you both kind of go together. Pretty cool. And then they're pretty smart about the way that they're kind of approaching it. Let's stay in here for the night. Let's try and, you know, hide off and do things the way that we can. The succubus comes in and through the scent and everything starts luring Rudy in and making his desires really come to the surface here. And of course, we have to take it out. Really cool designs, I would say, for all the enemies and everything that we go against on our way up here. As we just keep on traveling through, we experience, flesh out the world a little bit more, learn a lot about the cultures and stuff. Alina Lace has to go out of her way and meet up. Ooh, she's got reasons for it. Simple magic and like things like this. And I say simple, it's really not, but being able to like alter the fucking earth and stuff and do things like this is crazy. It's so fun, but pretty cool. And we're able to, before the griffins come in and start attacking us, as we use our teamwork pretty well, to be able to take these out. A little conversation about the relationship. Rudy kind of learns into it a little bit and starts understanding a bit about the things that have gone down in the past regarding, you know, Paul and his relationship with other women, especially his mother and stuff, as she reminisces a little bit on the days that she had journeying and traveling with them, especially when she first ended up meeting them. Rudy getting to also understand and see a similarity possibly between him and the way that he kind of treats her or acts towards her, to his mom. Not something that he really knows too well, if at all. I mean, he literally knew her for such an early point in her life, so never really got to. It's one of those things, I feel like, when you're a child, right, you don't really know that person too well because it's like putting on the mask like in front of your kid and stuff, and while that's always still going to kind of be there, you can kind of see behind it a bit more and really understand like who this person is like as you get a little bit older, also because you develop a little bit more and you can definitely comprehend things a lot better, but him being able to finally understand or see some things in some sides that he may have not really known or understood completely, also stories and things that he has not had the opportunity to ever really learn by not being with his family members and stuff for years on end now, which is, I think, pretty nice. But of course, Elena Lace is going to have to end up facing that and going up with Paul at some point when they end up meeting up here, likely when we're going after Xanath here. Do they have to have that conversation? Do they have to? Probably not. Is anything that he says actually going to kind of repair the things that she's upset about? Likely not, right? But at least him making that effort and putting it out there, you know, and letting her know that he does apologize for whatever has occurred and everything kind of between them over the years is, I think, the first and appropriate step for him to likely take. Really fucking cool. This like looks awesome. And I'm kind of excited to see where that kind of heads. Like I said, I didn't completely love it. I don't know what it is. It might have just been like, it might not even be pacing. It might just be a me thing. I don't know. I just wasn't too like interested. And I think it was just because like nothing was really presented too much. The only other thing I think that was like there that I didn't actually talk about in the discussion was the Orsted like cloak kind of being there, but it's like that was to be expected because he seems to be the one who kind of went out of his way and figured all this out and probably like created and did all this stuff to begin with. So that would make a lot of sense that he constantly is going between and using these things. The only other real concern that like can really come out of that, in my opinion, is like he's aware when people are using these things that are supposed to probably be sealed off and that they're not supposed to, and it's kind of designed for him. So there could be a chance that he is like alert of what's going on and he's gonna follow and find his way up here. Opportunity for that to happen, but I don't really know. I feel like just a lot of the other stuff that was it was just more to build up and transition you into what is to come. So there just wasn't a lot for me to really like latch onto. And then a lot of like the comedy moments and stuff, like they had the jokes that they kind of made where Rudy was being, you know, kind of taken over here by the succubus and all that stuff, like just doesn't really hit for me. It doesn't really do anything. So I don't know what it is. It just, I think, would probably be something along those lines, but we move forward and we see more a little bit going forward here. I guess the only other thing I can say is I would hope we play into it again, like with him possibly coming back, him possibly not in time, but before the child is born. We've built up that like we can have the opportunity now for him to come back. So I would hold true to my understanding. If we were to get everybody out alive with where we're end up going here, we're going to lose something, possibly the child itself, by the time Rudy can come back, which I think would be like still an appropriate thing and would work well, because it gives an opportunity for him to arrive on time and arrive back before it's born, but actually still have something go wrong like prior to that he has to come back into, thinking that he made it back and thinking that all was well until he gets there. There's an opportunity for them to do that, but I think that personally works so much better if he's not there on time and he thinks he misses years of this kid's life, and then he just finds out that Sophie's been like in pain over something that's happened for years on end too. So I don't know. I mean, we have to see how that kind of plays out, but I think I personally would have just preferred the other route for it to be. But this does speed things up a little bit more, and we'll have to see exactly how it goes before we can kind of put it in the grander context of like be truly understanding it. These are just like ideas that I'm kind of bouncing off as we move a little bit forward here. So I don't know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed though. If you liked it all, like and subscribe to me lots of me. Feel free to check out the videos and channel. If it comes with this series, I'll be back for episode 20 next week. I hope you have a great one. Peace.